we're good, and the StarCraft is going well, man. I'm a was plat 2 and kept getting bumped up to about 3K MMR, where I would then lose a bunch and get knocked back down. And I had a bit of a breakthrough last week where got 7 wins in a row and got up to plat 1 MMR. So that's kind of where I left off. And one of the big changes I made that I think contributed to that was doing your beta GM build. I noticed you weren't building Marauders out of your Tech Lab barracks at the beginning, and I had been. And as soon as I switched to just Marines, I had so many more minerals to expand and get the dropships and everything else. So I feel like that helped a lot. But anyway, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, we can definitely fix that shit up for you. Did you come with some replays prepared, or you want to just kind of do it live here instead?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I can drop them in that.
Yeah, easy peasy.
I got two. I brought a TvZ, a win and a loss.
Okay.
I find the higher I've gotten up, it was my easier matchup in the beginning, but as we go up in the levels, it seems like Zerg is beating my ass sometimes.
All right, no worries. I will. Do you have a preference on which one we look at first? Like, I would. No. Okay. I was gonna say if there was a preference, it should definitely be the one that probably looks like your average game more often.
Yeah. They're both pretty similar. The loss is pretty much a really terrible decision without scanning ahead and losing my army, and then probably not having enough production behind it to save it in the end.
Okay.
That's probably its more typical loss for me. The win, I thought I did pretty good on the macro, but always looking to get better. So I'm sure we'll find some stuff.
All right, no worries. All right, well, let's check it out. I'm gonna share my screen with you on Discord as well, so you can see my. You don't have to watch the stream with this. It'll be like actual up to date, like exactly like as I'm looking at it. So if you should see do you see like the private stream thing on Discord now?
Yeah, it looks like it. Stream. There we go.
Okay.
Yep, got it.
All right, cool. So now you can see my mouse as well, and like it'll be more active for you. But
for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see what's going on for you. And then try to give you some ideas on how to improve things. All right.
Yeah, boys. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, you go. I was just kind of filling banter there, like because it was.
No worries. Just always been a little curious, like how to practice outside of playing games. Like maybe it's just playing games and that's the answer, but I feel like there's got to be other things you can do.
I think there's like two ways I would say you can get really good. Two ways you can get really good at practice, and one way is you genuinely find people that are better than you and you just play them. Like probably not too much better than you. Like don't play someone who's fucking GM or like high masters. But if you played someone who's like maybe 500 MMR higher than you, and that person did not mind playing you a lot, that would help you a ton because it'll make you actually. It'll like level up your play faster because it'll teach you the only way you can win is by playing better. And a lot of people, it's like subconscious. If you're winning games, you don't improve as fast. It's legit. Like you're like, oh well, I'm already winning, so cool. Like I'll just do it again. But you're not actually improving as fast as you could be if you were losing and you're playing somebody who's like pushing you to get better. Another way you can get better, I honestly like the way you can do it yourself, is if you watched I recommend this to everybody, but it's so true. If you watch the notepad trick from the Beta GM video, like the intro to it, it's the very first video. That if you do that shit a lot, it will actually make your timers like up to par. It'll increase like where you're going wrong, and it'll fix shit that's that you might not realize is a problem. Because I think the biggest problem a lot of people have when they're trying to learn the game is they look at a replay as like an entire thing where they're like, okay, this is like 14 minutes. Where did I go wrong? And they don't know where to start at. But in StarCraft 2, like for instance, if you go wrong at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, every single second after that is irrelevant. It doesn't matter because you're already off and everything's off now, and it's only gonna get further off the more mistakes you make. But the whole plan or the point of what you're trying to do is not fall off for no reason. So like yeah, figuring out like where you're going wrong, where that happens, and fixing it definitely makes you get better faster too.
It's like my 46 supply block.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's a good example of one for sure. All right, so your scout, you don't have to do this, okay? But I'll just give you a little idea here. You don't have to scout this fast against Zerg. You could absolutely scout with the SCV that builds the barracks, if you wanted to, because the SCV that builds the barracks will still get across the map in time to see like lings being made if the Zerg were to go for like an early pressure with like a 12 pull. But Like that'll just give you more money because that SCV that's running across the map right now probably could have already mined you like 25 minerals by himself. And you know, it's only going deeper down that road because he's scouting so early.
Yeah.
So it's not like the end of the world for you, but it would help a little bit. And another mistake you're making right now. Okay, your build's actually really greedy. Or like okay, it's somewhat, but let me say it like this. What you want to do, what you want to definitely prioritize always, is if your command center that's building SCVs, the one that's already done, if it's not more than halfway done, like if it's not above 6 seconds out of production in that SCV's build time right there, you just want to fucking cancel it and immediately make an orbital command. You want to, you ideally, if you don't miss SCVs at all, and you don't mess up your barracks and your depot timing at all, and you have it all perfect, ideally what'll happen is your command center will finish an SCV right as your barracks finishes, and you'll make an orbital right after the SCV that just finished. But basically the point I'm trying to make is that orbital is like priority. It's definitely your priority of that needs to be above SCVs.
So it's orbital and then command center.
Yes. You got mules are insane. You want to get those out as fast as possible. And the second the orbital's done, drop that mule immediately. Because it stacks with SCVs and it gives you so much more minerals. It'll increase your build speed.
Okay.
But yeah, command center high ground it's whatever. I would say
that was a question I had. Like, I do it because I got messed over too many times, but like I probably don't need to anymore. I don't know. So I guess if you don't recommend it, I'd put it down the low ground.
I would say in general, it'll make your life a little bit easier if someone all-ins you, because it's definitely not going to get denied then, and it's going to be there. But if I were you, I would probably do low ground expansions, because it's just the odds of you getting denied on that command center are not super high. I would say most of your games probably aren't going to be that. They're probably going to be games like what this is right here, where it's a Zerg who goes hatch first and do a gas in a pool, stuff like that. Or like it's not going to be like one base all-ins. Like every game, I feel like it will happen, but it won't be. It'll be less often than people who don't do that. So like the odds are in your benefit to take it on the low ground. And the thing about taking it on the low ground as well is it's not automatically dead either if it's a one base all in. So like for instance, if your SCV scouted across the map, and as like we'll say, let's just say it's the SCV that built the barracks, okay? So like it's not like another SCV like the one it is right now, but it's like the scout would have been a little bit later because the SCV that built the barracks would have then ran across the map instead of building that command center. So if that's what it was, if you get to the Zerg's base at like, let's say like 210 or like 205, and the hatchery is not even done yet, and it's like a third of the way in production, and you see 2 lings running out of his base right now, there's a good chance that you have like 6 more lings somewhere on the map that are already headed to your base, and this hatchery is ridiculously late. So like here's a question I have for you before I throw a lot of numbers at you and confuse you. Do you know on the game clock what is supposed to be a normal time for a Zerg's hatchery at their natural to finish if they're playing normal and standard?
I guess I would say no, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, this is something you should commit to memory because it makes scouting so much more understandable when you look at someone's base. It's 2 minutes. So at 2 minutes, if a Zerg's hatchery at their natural is finishing, it means they went hatchery first. But instead, if the hatchery just is not there at all, or if the hatchery is like not even close to being finished, and it looks like it's not going to be done until like 2 minutes and 40 seconds or like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that means that he went pool first. And if he goes pool first, he totally could have lings on the map and be doing something aggressive.
Gotcha.
So the difference here, the reason why this is relevant is the difference that you could do is you could just leave your units defensive on the high ground of whatever you make. Like, I don't know if you make a Reaper, but if you do make a Reaper, the Reaper could literally kill all these lings if you just leave it defensive and you don't get like caught in the middle of the map somewhere and just get surrounded and die. And you're like, wait, what? Oh, lings are there. Oh, shit. So, yeah, it's really just like understanding like how to go about it as a follow-up. That's like the only thing you have to understand to be safe if you take a command center on the low ground is, should I be defensive right now, or can I still go across the map and poke you? If you, I don't know what you make, but yeah, you might make.
I don't make a Reaper, but I think I need to start doing that soon.
I would say in Platinum, you don't necessarily need to make a Reaper, but in Diamond Plus, you definitely do. And if you want to start practicing a Reaper in Plat, it's okay. I would be like, that's cool. You could do that. Just start warming yourself up for a Diamond League. Just know that the Reaper overall in Platinum is probably not going to be your biggest like hurdle to overcome. It's really going to be your macro, which we're going to probably talk about a lot throughout this game. But yeah. Like, for instance, one of the mistakes you made already was prioing the command center before the orbital, and that's not like the end of the world, but yeah, it's very little, but yeah.
Yeah,
overall,
I'm sure.
Yeah, overall you're still fine. Like this actually is a way bigger problem right here. Like this is the kind of shit that will fucking ruin you. So your command center finishes at 2 minutes and 7 seconds, and then you make an SCV. Let's see. I'm gonna pause it right when you make it.
Eventually.
Yeah. You make an SCV at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So you've already, right there, you missed 13 seconds of SCV production time. And that's more than what an entire SCV is worth in terms of build time. So you're already down an SCV. It's like an SCV was just killed out of your mineral line for no reason. And then now you're just like continuing on from like as if that was the point you were at. So that sucks for you. That definitely slows you down. Shit like that will fucking ruin you. And I imagine it will happen multiple times because it does to everybody. SCV ready. Okay. And then the SCV is coming home. Yeah, I would say it doesn't need to scout anymore. Another thing too, if you ever actually do a CC on the high ground like you did here, if it happens ever again, make it an orbital before you lift it.
Okay.
The only time you would ever... There's only one exception to this rule, okay? The only time you would ever not do that, and instead you would lift it and land it and then make it an orbital instead, would be if your mineral line was going to surpass 25 workers on it while you made the orbital. So, the reason why this is important, okay? I'm going to teach you a concept as to why that makes sense. Each base has 8 mineral patches, and 2 SCVs per patch is perfect saturation. So that's 16, right? Because 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, and you could actually you actually get more benefit from an SCV mining with 3 per patch than you do having an SCV like long distance mine. So obviously, and also they're more protected that way. So you should always have SCVs up to 24 on one base before you like choose to long distance mine. But and that's why the point I'm trying to make here is that it's okay for you to oversaturate this base to make the orbital, because you're not even close to 24, or because 25 and beyond is worthless. You get 0 efficiency out of those SCVs once you're above 25. So 25 and every SCV after that is worthless. But you had plenty of time to make SCVs here and make the orbital. But yeah, again, the mules are the priority, and the big reason why that goes in conjunction with this, that's important for you to make the orbital first, is either way, you're gonna have to fly this command center. Whether it's an orbital or whether it's not an orbital, it's gonna have to lift, fly, land, which is like gonna be about like 10 to 12 seconds of time that it's gonna just be doing that. But if it was an orbital right now, it would be generating energy, and if it's not an orbital, it's doing literally nothing. So you still get benefit out of it if it's an orbital. But yeah, the only exception is if you're at 20, if you're gonna surpass 24 and go into the 25 plus range, then do this so you can saturate your mineral line properly. That's the only exception. To it being efficient, that is. Alright. And like your barracks right now is not producing. That's scary for you. There you go. Your factory was good. Produced right away. I would say right now too, you're going to start getting a little bit of excess money. Immediately start making SCVs make your depot wall here. You want to get that depot wall starting to set up like as early as possible, but you don't want to make that depot wall the priority of your resources. You just want to squeeze it in as soon as you have everything in production and you have a second to spare. And that's definitely right now, because your Marines aren't going to be done for 11 seconds. This Tech Lab's not going to be done for 11 seconds. That tank's not going to be done for 26. SCVs aren't going to be done for 9. And you have already over enough minerals to make the depot, so you definitely want to start it. Because you will also supply block soon if you don't do that.
Yeah, this is the one that supply block I keep seeing myself hit, that 46 right there.
Yeah. And then like right here too. This command center, that was about like, I would say 7 seconds of no SUV production time on that one. A little bit rough. It might seem like it's not a big deal, but it's so big. And like that is what's gonna like make you feel like games, because like let me say it like this. This is actually a good way to look at the game, and if you don't look at it like this might make you think about the game differently. But when you play a game of StarCraft 2, if you're in the middle of the game or near the end of the game and you're thinking to yourself, this is so fucking hard. This is difficult. Like, I am barely able to do this. This is very, very, very challenging. It's hard. It's difficult. Whatever. Like any word that describes that. The reason why the game feels so hard is because your macro suffers from a lot of mistakes that are easy to make. So, because like I would say, is it hard to make SCVs? Not really. Is it hard to make Marines? Not really. The hard part about StarCraft 2 is fighting your opponent and being distracted and then also trying to maintain all of this. That's when the game gets actually hard. But when nothing is happening and you're just hitting your buttons on your keyboard where you're like, make SCVs, make a tank, make Marines, and like it literally is like a pattern. It's like learning like red, blue, red, green, blue. Like it's just like, you know, it's like Simon Says do this and you just fucking do it all day because it's never going to change, essentially is what I'm trying to say. It's always the same pattern every game if you're defensively just doing your own thing. So getting good at the
like
pattern, or go ahead, sorry.
I need like a buzzer or something on my wrist.
I feel like it just takes experience as well. Like, to be fair, like it's I definitely can't be like just do it and you're just doing it. It'll take experience from like your own time investment. But once you get there and once you get that down, this game you're gonna play right now, if this felt difficult before, if your macro is cleaner, you're gonna be like, wow, this feels so easy. Like what is my opponent not supposed to be here? Like, I'm confused. Like, you'll eventually hit that point where that will feel that way, because you'll realize, wow, okay, this game is just easier because my macro is like on fucking point. And then you'll eventually play players who are at a higher level and their macro will also be on point, and then the game has a whole new element to it with multitasking and stuff like that. But yeah, like I can clearly see your SCVs definitely need some improvement, and like your production as well. And all it's gonna do is like it's just gonna slow you down like repeatedly, and it's gonna make everything feel like you're starving for resources. But good tank placement. Yeah, that spy block is fucking pretty hard.
This better be good.
Make sure, yeah. That is being made. So our SCVs were being missed again. Like this command center. Okay, you caught it there. That was really good. Good job on that one. Want to get your... Yeah, right? Want to make sure your upgrade is started on your barracks soon. It's definitely...
When does the... I don't think I start STEM for a while. Like, when should I be starting STEM?
I would say you should start STEM as soon as you can afford it. Like, so there's a list of priority, okay? So you shouldn't start it oh, I have 100 minerals, I do it now, 100 gas. If you, like, let's say your command center was gonna have idle time as a result of that for like 4 seconds. Like, don't do that. So always make sure your priorities are, number 1, you make SCVs. Number 2, you pump units. And number 3, everything else in your base that needs to be done. That's just how it goes. So don't ever build. The only building there's only one building that is an exception to all of this, and that is a supply depot. So if you're like getting really close to blocking because you're not paying attention, you need to build that shit, because if you block, everything stops anyways. But like, for instance, if you were gonna, here's an example of what I mean. Let's say you have just enough minerals to build a starport. You have like 175 minerals, and a starport only costs 150. And your SCVs are at 11 seconds out of 12 on both command centers, and nothing is queued up behind it. I'd be like, okay, if you make that starport right now, which you can afford, it's going to make your SCVs bump both command centers, stall out for like, one of them's going to be down for like 4 seconds, and the other one's going to be down for probably like 7 seconds. That's really bad. That's like 11 seconds of idle time on both your command centers if you put them together. So you definitely don't want to do that. You definitely want to go, okay, I make 2 more SCVs again, and then I make the starport when my next round of SCVs are only at like 4 out of 12. So that by the time when they're done again, you have money again in the bank that you can make another round with, and you never stop making them. That's proper macro. Improper macro would be making that starport right as you have the money for it because your factory just finished, and your SCVs cut for a little bit, and then you make the starport, and you're like, okay, well, I made the starport faster. And it's like, well, your economy now suffers for that. So you got to realize your priority is definitely your economy because you're playing a defensive build that's macro oriented. So SCVs are always the priority. The second priority is your unit production. Same thing could be said. And so let's just hypothetically say your SCVs are at 1 out of 12. They're perfect. They're producing. Nothing's been missed. But now, let's say your barracks on your Marines is 16 out of 18. And your minerals are at 140 currently in the bank. And you're like, all right, well, in like 1 second, I'm going to have enough minerals to build a starport. So I'm going to do that right now. That's, again, incorrect. Because now if you do that, you're going to build the starport, but now your barracks is going to go idle for the next, like, 5 seconds. And you don't want that. Like, it's always priority of building what you have existing and then adding on top of it as you can afford it. Because if you do this properly, if you think about it like a graph, your mineral saturation is going to, like, exponentially increase. And, like, it's going to start at an angle that's, like a 30-degree line or some shit like that. And it's going to only get steeper and steeper going directly fucking vertical as you produce more and more workers faster, because your income is going to be getting produced out of 1 command center at first, and then it's going to get produced out of 2 command centers eventually, then 3, then 4, then 5. And before you know it, you're going to hit this crazy fucking point in the game where you can always have more than you can spend. So you want to get to that point as fast as possible. And every time you stop making workers and stop like expanding at the right time, you only make it take longer to get there, and it fucks you over really hard. So like that shit, like where you go, well, I'm going to prioritize a starport. And again, I'm just using a starport as an example. But like if you were to prioritize the starport instead, and you're like, well, fuck the economy for a second. I'm making the starport now, and I'm going to have another hiccup in my economy. All that does is it reinforces the idea that you need to do damage with the starport and whatever else is going to be combined with it. Because if you do damage to your own economy indirectly, and you don't do damage to your opponents, it's pointless to do damage to your own economy. So the general idea is never disregard your economy to make military instead, ever, unless it's for like a timing attack and you're doing a timing. And that's seriously so fucking important. It's and it takes practice. It'll take time to get used to, but yeah, that is something that's already slowing you down in this game for sure. Because like again, look at your barracks right here. Barracks are idle. The starport's idle. Your command centers are producing, but too many idle buildings are repeatedly happening.
Complete.
There we go. I mean that was short though. I'll give you that. It was not that long. It was like 1 or 2 seconds. So I had it paused when it wasn't producing, but you fixed it really fast. Okay. And if it's only like 1 second or something, I'm not gonna be like, that's fucking bad. 1 second is the worst. It's okay. The only thing 1 second's really honestly kind of unacceptable on still is your command centers. But on your production, if it's like 1 second off, that's fine. But like for instance, let's look at this. Like the tank is going to be definitely off because your gas is not able to support it, but it's okay. Also, you could be done at 3 tanks too. But yeah, anyways, like that's one of the biggest things we need to really harp on a lot here, because it's gonna definitely be a big constant thing you have to always work on, no matter what league you're in. I really like your command center timing. That was very good. I was about to recommend that you build it in the replay and be like, so you should be doing it now, and you did, so that was great. Also, your gas timing at your natural is very good according to your SCV count. That's really, really nice. Your scout is nice with your Marines. You now know the Zerg is taking a 3rd base. And you're actually ahead in the sense that your 3rd's actually started before his, and that's really bad for Zerg in terms of economy. So that's fine. But that means that Zerg could be more aggressive now, though, as well. So you would want to keep that in mind. So maybe like, let's actually do a little bit of a theory question here really fast. And if you don't, I just want you to think about it for a second. If you don't have an answer, you can just be like, what do you think? And I'll give you an answer. It's totally fine. I'm not trying to put you too much on the spot here. I just want you to think about it. But in this position, when you scouted that Zerg's 3rd base is later than yours as the Terran player, what do you think the next couple minutes of this game will probably look like?
I guess while I was playing, I'm sure I was just thinking, I'm going to drop soon, and I probably didn't think about it at all, to be honest.
Okay, and what do you do drop? What are you going to drop? What's the plan for a drop here?
Heading on both sides, right? Doing the left and right side and hitting the first 2 bases I see.
Okay, and how much are you going to invest into that?
It's
like, unit-wise?
2 medevacs, full medevacs.
Okay, so 1 medevac on either side?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I would say that plan is actually fine. Because as long as you leave your tanks defensive here, your chances of dying are a little bit lower. Because this guy has shown you two things already that you clearly just saw with that one Marine. He showed you that he's going roaches because you just saw like 7 roaches hit, like to come kill your Marine. So he's definitely going roaches. And then that could be anything combined with roaches, but it's like he's already spending gas on roaches, which decreases the chance that you're about to see a bunch of mutas or something like that. And then the fact that he's got no third, like the super late third means that he's not making drones right now. He's making just units to attack you with. So having a defensive posture with your base with a wall set up is definitely going to make you way more effective here. And I would say the only thing you need to do to make sure you're not going to get screwed here is maybe back that the tank in the middle up right here, back it up to maybe like right there and siege it, and you'll be good to go. Most likely, if the guy just does like a push in your face. And then if you load up 2 medevacs, you're going to have no bio really covering your tanks. It's going to be very light on that. But you could actually do a ton of damage with these medevacs, potentially, though. So it's definitely not the worst idea.
I feel like I barely have the capacity to think about what the other person's going to do. Like, only a little bit.
I mean, that'll grow over time, for sure. Like, that's the thing about once you get really comfortable with your own build, then you can start thinking about your opponent's build. And that just comes from the point where, like, if you do, like, a build, like, 100 times, or, like, 300 times in StarCraft 2, it'll eventually start becoming a thing where it's, like, second nature to you. And you don't have to, like, think about it. You just kind of do it because it's muscle memory. Like, you do it out of your subconscious, more or less. But yeah, once you get there, for sure, you can start thinking about more like critical thinking about what we just kind of talked about. But those kinds of things, you can, instead of making it super complicated, you could just literally break it down as simple as this. Who's ahead in economy? Oh, I am. So I'm most likely going to be needing to be defensive. It's as simple as that. If someone does not make economy as fast as you do, they're probably gearing to attack you. That's because if they're not gearing to attack you, the only other outcome there is that they're teching really hard, and then that's something that you'll see eventually anyways a little bit later through either you're harassing them and you spot their tech or something like that. But if someone is behind you in economy and they're not attacking you, the only answer there is tech, or they're just not very good. And I would try not to go down the road of they're just not very good, because that's just going to make you read games horribly then. If you're always like, my opponents suck, and then everything they do is stupid, like, it'll just make you not know how to read games if you just always disregard everything. So anyways, yeah. Getting attacked is totally viable here for your opponent because he's behind you in economy. And the final thing is, Zerg should always be ahead of Terran. So should Protoss. Terran should actually have the slowest economy out of all 3 races, honestly, because you don't have Chrono Boost and you don't have Larva Inject. And you do have mules, but like that doesn't kick on until a little bit later. Yeah. So, like once you get to like 4 bases, it doesn't really matter anymore. But up to 3, you should always be behind of Protoss and Zerg in the early stages of the game. And if you're not, there's something weird going on there with their tech. Okay, so here's going to be a big thing. Okay, so your 3rd CC is done. That's actually, how long has that been done for?
I don't know.
That's probably been done for a while. So like that's something right there too that'll definitely screw you, right? We've already talked about it many times, but it finishes at 632. Let's just really quickly look at this on like ×8 and see when you actually utilize this building. From 632, and it's just this command center. There's a chance that you might not be utilizing other buildings too, but it's just this command center. It's been a full minute now, and it's done nothing since it's been built. So that shit needs that's gonna screw you, like that's needs to be fixed for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, there we go.
There it goes.
Like 90 seconds after it was made, it got lifted off and went to the fucking natural, or the 3rd base, sorry. But we'll go back now, a minute and a half, and go back to talking about what you're doing here, other than that CC. Okay, so when you attack, what you're doing right now, you're setting them up in 2 different locations. One of the hardest things to do when you do stuff like this is to remember to macro, and you definitely need to. You need to make sure you're hitting your number 4 hotkey, or rather for you it's number 5. It's 4 and 5 for you. 4 SCV, 5 build units out of your production. But it really needs to continue. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna look at what exactly at this moment what you select and what you do. That what you just did right there, that was not bad. You did a drop, and then like 2 seconds later, you went back to your production and you cycled through it. You're not making anything out of the factory, but that's okay because I know at the beta GM where I was like, you can make 3 tanks and then just disregard it because it's just for defense, which is totally fine. So far, in the attack that you've initiated here, you're doing all right with your production out of your existing buildings. Just only the third command center was really bad. We'll see how it keeps going here. So you drop. You are doing a stimless drop.
I know.
And it's only because, yeah, like you want to make sure that stim pack is definitely being made as early as possible, as soon as you're not stopping your production. That definitely is a priority upgrade.
Okay.
Because you can do so much more damage if you had stim here. And then you're microing it. You boost out. You actually save it. I would literally say, if you get away with that and you're like, cool, it lived. Oh my god. Go fucking home with this. Do not come back, because if you fly too far in, a queen will one-shot you and it will just die. Like, I would definitely say just go home with this. Save the units. They did. You actually killed like 8 drones or like 9 drones, and you saved everything. That's a win-win right there. But if you throw this away, it's kind of like even the game out a bit. Like, it's like, oh, I killed 8 drones, but I lost a medevac of 8 Marines.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I was ahead and I just evened it out for him.
Well, hopefully I do that.
Your main drop is doing damage. This is, once again, this drop is doing great damage. You killed the queen. That's like 4, 5 drones that have died, 6 drones. And you boost away. And you go over here. This one's okay, I would say, because you're actually, but here's the thing, though. This drop, you're actually, you killed, between all the drones you just killed, you killed like 15 or something like that. And, you are now dropping the natural when you just lured him to the main. You're definitely giving this guy the run around. You're doing a good job with the attack so far. And if this one drop dies, and let's say you kill another like 5 drones in the process before it dies, I mean, that is definitely worth it for attacking. But the only problem for you doing this is, are you properly macroing behind this? And you did make a round of Marines on your barracks for a second there, but I haven't seen you make an SCV for a while. And you're doing nothing with the starport, and you have enough money to do all of it. And you also have no upgrades going. And you have no more active depots or command centers being built right now. So your expansions are, like, even though you're doing damage here, you're actually doing damage to yourself as well, because you're not actually macroing behind it. So definitely, that's why you got to pick your moments when you attack somebody, and you got to make sure that you're not over-investing too much time into attacking when you don't need to be looking at something. Like, here's an example of what I mean, okay? Here's an example. So, we're going to go back to your attack here and do this really fast. So, like, right here, when you attack right here, you could just stim pack it and then let it do its thing. Like, I think you would have been better off, like, and this is assuming it's stim pack, okay? But I think you would have been better off if you just landed this. Actually, here, let me back it up even more. This will make more sense if it's like this. So, the first step to take here is to look at the minimap and go, where am I on the minimap? And be like, it's like a quick measurement of distance. Okay, because, like, I feel like what's happening right now is you dropped a little bit lopsided, where, like, for instance, look at the locations you want to drop. You want to drop that mineral line right now, and you want to drop that mineral line right now, like behind it or something, which is totally fine. But if you measure the distance on the minimap between this medevac right here and this mineral line right there, it's really not that far on the natural one right here. It's like 1 screen length away. But if you look at this one, this medevac is like 2 full screen lengths away from that mineral line. Like, you got some distance to cover there. So if that medevac goes in right now, like the one at the natural up here, if this one goes in right now, it's going to be dropping about a full like 8 seconds or like 9 seconds before the other medevac. Or probably 8 seconds. So it's definitely going to be lopsided when, if you had both drops going in at the same time, like, or like closer than this, you could go, okay, stim pack, and literally let them just A-move and not even micro them. And even if they did die, I actually think you would have done more damage to your opponent and then than what you did And on top of that, if you just spent like 1 second going stim pack, forget about it, go back to macroing, make my 4th command center, orbital this 3rd command center, produce all my units, get upgrades started, make depots. If you did that instead, that is definitely the priority over grabbing the medevacs and going boost away, and then boost this one up and drop my Marines, like carpet drop them, and then boost away. Definitely not is worth it. Like, it feels like you're playing fancy and cool, but you got to realize people who do shit like that, they actually would do something like this. Is how it would look if you had like a Masters player doing what you did, where they actually microed it as well. They would drop, and as their medevac is going from like here to here, like this line of distance essentially, they would go back and they would be like, make a depot, and then immediately tap like the medevac hotkey back to the medevac, so it's only been like 2 seconds. And then while they're looking at the medevac, now they're watching it to watch and see if they need to turn it around and fly it away if something's going to defend it. As they're watching the medevac, they're also grabbing group 5 and going make a round of units, and then it starts dropping. And then same thing here. Now they double tap this medevac hotkey over here, which is coming in, and they're making SCVs. And they're watching to see if it's okay. And it's okay. They start carpet dropping the medevac drop. They come back here, they stim it. It still looks okay for a second. They come back here, they stim it. It still looks okay for a second. And then as they go back to this medevac, they grab another round of production on their number 5, of their barracks and their factory and all that shit. So they're keeping their money like always below like 400 or 500 minerals while they're doing all of this. They keep going back every time they can't do anything for a second to macro. To macroing again. It's definitely something that it's just multitasking is what they're doing. So it's something that you have to, you have to basically find your moments and you pick them. And the moments that matter are, what I'm trying to explain is, when you have a moment, when you're microing your army, when there's physically nothing you can do, and you're waiting for something to happen, that is a macro moment. So if I have a medevac that's going down to this location, and it's safe, I'm watching it, but there's nothing, I can't click it and make it go faster. There's nothing that'll change it. It's just doing its thing right now. It has the command and it's executing that command. That's the time to macro. If it's dropping Marines out and I'm waiting for the Marines to drop to stem them, that's a moment where I can't do anything. Moments like that are moments that you definitely want to be macroing. And then if, like, let's say Hydras came in and it was like this right here, and let's say you had your Marine stemmed, this is a moment where you could actually focus fire drones if you wanted to. Like, if you were like, you know what, I'm macroing behind this, I know I'm ahead economically, I know this guy can't counterattack me and kill me right now because I have tanks and he's on Roach Hydra, which is a ground push. Like, I definitely won't die. So what you could do as well, like, obviously I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm saying these are ideas you should think about. You could stim pack your Marines right now, and you could go target fire that drone. Move command right here. Target fire that drone. Move command again further down. Target fire that drone. Move command this way. Target fire, target fire, target fire, target fire, target fire. And you like run away from his army and snipe drones all like constantly. And you lose all these units, but you kill like the entire fucking mineral line. Like, if you did that shit to the Zerg, you would win the game right now. You could literally win the game right now if you had stim pack and you just ate like target fire drones. And then the same thing could be said about this. Like, as soon as this is over and these Marines are all dead, these Marines ideally would just be on a move stim pack. So they're killing whatever is here because there's no units here to defend it. And as soon as Zerg came back to defend this, you just target fire the rest of the mineral line if any of it still exists. And you could wipe out like 30 fucking drones right now.
Be nice.
Again, that's if you're comfortable with your units and shit like that. And I know I'm not telling you that you have to be right now, but that's the kind of shit you should be doing if you're actually microing. Okay, the point I'm trying to make here is, if you're not doing that kind of shit, actually microing and just watching, if you're just watching your units and you just have them selected and you're just kind of like crossing your fingers going, kill stuff, it's not worth your time. Right? And so instead, what would be more worth your time is not fucking your own base over and actually making sure everything's running properly. You're doing an okay job at the macro, but it could be a little bit better. Obviously, it has to be better, though, because if you're going to keep going up in leagues, because your opponents will definitely punish you. Okay, now, huge thing. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to quiz you. Then I'll give you the answer. I'll either agree with you or I'll give you the answer based on what you say.
All right.
As you take your third base, how should you defend it properly with your units?
I feel like they all need to get close to it. Am I wrong?
No, that's correct.
I don't know if I did that though.
So the one thing I'm a little bit scared about for you right now is you only have 3 tanks, and 2 of them are not being used properly. So you standing here with your bio is fine. I don't mind it. You should, like, being between your bases is not a big deal. I would say you could even maybe stand a little bit closer to your third, only because your natural has a depot wall that you can always lift up, and it buys you time. So you don't have to be as scared about the depot wall, like just dying in 1 second. It could buy you a second for your tanks to shoot and your bio to stim back backwards over here and come back and defend it. But the big one I'm kind of scared about for you is this third tank has never been sieged the entire game. And this tank is not covering the third base at all. It's covering the natural of the side of the depot wall. So this tank should unsiege and resiege like right there. So it actually covers a big chunk, maybe even like right there. So it covers a lot of the third. And this tank could like drive back here and siege like back there. So it covers a large chunk of the third. And that would definitely make your life a lot easier in case this guy attacks your third. Because if he attacks your third right now, it basically what's happening is it'll put a lot more pressure on your bio because you don't have tank support. Because this tank can't shoot further than the gas. Like, this tank will only shoot something if it goes beyond the gas geyser. Because you can see its range right there is those like little white dots, and they go through the gas. So it's not very much range, and it shoots like that far in the middle line. So it's going to basically shoot your SCVs if like Zerglings around them.
Helpful.
Okay, that tank's placement's fine. If you're going to guard it like this, that's fine. It's not a big deal. This tank's not really helping though still. And this tank is still really well placed because it guards the natural, which is good.
Ready for dust off.
Okay, Planetary at the third. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Okay.
This is definitely something you should avoid if you want to. Like, this is something that Terrans do sometimes. But whenever anybody sees a Terran do this, they're like, wow, this Terran's broke. This Terran's got some shit economy. It's not actually... It's more intimidating to see a third orbital than a third planetary. Because this right here, although it might make you feel more defensive, as soon as you start playing people that know how to expand properly, they will just expand harder on you now, and you'll always be defensive, and you'll never have an aggressive move to do in the future. So there's one way to, the proper way to play Terran at, like, as you grow as a player is aggression. You literally play Terran through aggression. If you're not aggressive, something's wrong with your Terran. And the only way to be aggressive is to have enough economy to support aggression. So that's why that third 100% needs to be an orbital, because it could drop the amount of mules that base could drop throughout the rest of the game could be very high. It could drop like 15 mules if the game goes on for another 6 minutes or something like that. Like, it's fucking a lot of money. Just off the third only being an orbital. And then also the crazy thing is this third orbital can support mule droppage on other bases that you take as well beyond that point. And having 3 orbitals or only having 2 orbitals is a very big difference. It's, you know, it's a lot. It's a huge part of your economy. So yeah, it's some Terrans don't really realize how important that is, but it's fucking huge. It's so important to make that an orbital. The only time you should ever make it a planetary is if you're literally so desperate that you think that if it's not a planetary, you're going to die. And if the game is at that point already, it means you've probably made some mistakes before that, so shit's just already gone wrong. So you should just try to almost always make your third an orbital.
Command center upgrade.
Alright.
Mineral field depleted.
Yeah, I like that you're building another command center behind it. Definitely want to speed this up a little bit, though, I would say. Like, the timing of when you took your third and now you're taking your fourth. Like, the second this command center is done, make another one. And then lift it off and take this as a planetary. Like, make sure... Like, we'll watch that as well in a second here and see if you do it. But that is so important.
It sits there.
Yeah, it's really important to make sure you do that. Like, the expansions should be made as fast as they finish. So, like, right now, you should be actively kind of paying attention to this, and this should be lifting immediately right now, because it's going to be a planetary now, and you should be building a new command center in its place right now because you have the money for it. That would be a priority that's behind SCVs. And then, yeah.
It sits there.
So you lift it off within like 15 seconds or so, 10, 15 seconds, but you're not making another command center though.
No.
And that needs to definitely happen, because then another command center you would make would finish and you could lift it off and land it over here. and then do it again. Make another one, lift it and land it over there. And if you really wanted to, you can start making the command centers at that point, like at the location, because you have an army that's actively kind of controlling the map a little bit. So it's not as scary to not like to just straight up build at the expansion. Okay. And like right now, we're gonna back it up like 1 second and see when you max out.
Upgrade
So
complete.
what you want to have done for yourself right now is you want to be scouting on the map with like a marine and seeing what fucking locations has your opponent taken for an expansion, because you're really close to maxing out, and the second you max out, you want to like get going. You want to start heading to his base immediately, because every second that goes by when you don't attack your opponent and you're maxed out, you're just allowing him to catch up to you in a sense. And this is where knowing how to read a game makes sense. But you can tell this guy is not going to max out as fast as you already from this game, from 2 points in this game. The first point was that this guy showed you he was behind your third base with his third base. He was literally behind you in economy. Because if a Zerg is ever tied with Terran, he's losing the game. Because you have mules and he doesn't. Zerg should never be tied with you. That's why I said earlier, Zerg should always be ahead of you. So should Protoss. Like early on in the game. If they're not, they're teching or some shit like that, or they're gonna attack you. But a Zerg having a third base later than you and then not attacking you at all, you're definitely ahead in terms of economy, which means you're gonna max out faster, because your money is gonna come in quicker than his will to do that. The second part of why you're ahead is if you add on to the point that you had a third faster than he did, you also killed like 15 drones this game with your drops. You're definitely ahead in this game in terms of getting to 200 supply faster than he does. 100%. That's a fact in this game. If you think about those two things together, so it's in your best interest to attack as soon as you're maxed out, because that is your biggest power spike that he will not be able to match right when you do that. But if you sit here and you wait, you allow him to catch up to you. So like right now, like you could totally be maxed as well if you made some more SCVs and like a factory unit or something like that. You have the money for it. But we'll pause it right when you max. Okay, you max out at 1020. You have a 52 supply lead. You should be literally marching across the map right now to either this location or like this location would be the most likely ones, which a fourth base or like a base would probably be at. And you can see the Zerg is actually only on 3 bases. So you should definitely be attacking right now.
Yeah, I don't know when I actually moved. Probably too late from the sound of it, but I think this is a pretty stupid attack here, or I didn't scan ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, you actually moved out.
I remember.
You did move out late, or you're standing here again. So you grouped up, but then you're chilling again. Okay, so you attacked eventually. I would say your attack was maybe like 20 seconds or 25 seconds too late, just because you want to go a little bit quicker than that. But this Zerg does have lurkers. We saw that a second ago.
I never saw it, yeah.
It doesn't even matter that he has lurkers or not. So there's another concept that we want to look at.
Yeah.
And it's your production. So this is a rule I give everybody. I tell this to everybody all the time because it's really, 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 really important to know this. And if you can't do this, something has gone wrong with your setup. And there's already been a lot of problems with your macro setup. Okay? So your natural was, let's just put them all together really fast. Your natural was on the high ground. It took longer to get to the low ground. Not a huge deal. Probably the smallest one out of all of this, but it did slow you down a little bit. You missed SCVs a lot on your command centers multiple times. That slowed you down a lot. That was a huge one. Your third base was extremely late. Your third base was like 3 minutes later than it should have been. Huge problem, for sure. Your third base is massively oversaturated, and your fourth base at 11 minutes has nothing going on at it. This is a huge fucking problem. Your money is so much lower than it should be right now. By 11 minutes, you should honestly have like 5 bases saturated already. Not even, like, legit. Like, you should have all 5 bases have some type of saturation on them, and you're not oversaturating. And this one's good still. You're not oversaturating, and like this base and this base are like pure mineral line saturation because you're going bio, so you don't need fucking crazy amounts of gas. Just three base gas with like every base after that only minerals, only minerals, only minerals. And you would have like a mineral income right now that would be like 4,000 and not 2,200. It would be way higher.
That'd be nice.
And then if you had all that money, you would have way more than you do, which you need, because then you'd also have more barracks that are already finished, and you just started them. So these are definitely behind. These are behind schedule here for sure. And you would also have all of your existing production being built into already. Like, you're not building any production right now. So here's the thing I was telling you. The general idea where you can tell if your build is not fucked up or not is when you attack your opponent, no matter what race they are, doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter what their composition is, if you could not physically max out again as your shit dies within 15 seconds of losing your max, your build has some fucking fundamental problems in it in terms of macro. So if we look at when you attacked him, okay, so you're maxed out right now, which is great. Maxed out maybe a little bit late, but it's still overall okay. It's manageable, it's workable. You can work with it. And you start attacking into Terran. Or you start attacking into the Zerg player. If you cannot max out within 15 seconds of right now, there is a problem with your build. And the problem is, number one, you're not making shit as it dies. So you're not remaxing as shit dies, which you're not though. Like, we can see you're not building any units here. This is a huge thing you should be doing. So like, when you attack your opponent, all you need to do is a move, stim pack, no micro, like at most scan once, stim pack and scan, and fucking leave it alone, and then go back to your base and fix your expansions, fix your command center locations, like fix your your resources, fix your upgrades, make sure your buildings are pumping, make sure you have enough buildings, all that shit. That's what your priority should be right now, because as soon as this blob dies, it should be existing again right there, or wherever your rally point is, like right here. It should just be alive again. So 15 seconds from your max, if you start losing it, if you can't remax within 15, there's a problem. And it resets, that timer would reset every time you hit 200 supply again. So like right now, you could easily max out again if all your production was being utilized, and it would reset it. And then all these units that started dying are already being remade over here. The thing is though, is you're not just taking losses, you're also giving the Zerg losses. So if he's not doing that as well, and if he's losing Roaches and Hydras, and he's not rebuilding it as fast as you're rebuilding it, your second attack will run his ass over, because he won't have as nearly as much army as you do. So you take the fight, you're killing units, you're losing units, and you back off. But you're not building a single unit this entire fight. The production tab in top left, you have not built a single unit, and it's been 15 seconds.
Yeah. Bad news.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
That's bad news.
Oh yeah. It's rough for you. Like, it means that you have no way to stop a counterattack now. So this is when a lot of people die in the game, and they're like, why doesn't it work? What do I make if they make lurkers vibe? Fucking same units, just make them faster. It's really all it is. You just gotta make the units faster, set it up, and make them faster. Like, everybody does this. Everybody does this. This is definitely not a you problem. This is a platinum problem. Everybody fucking does this. And like, again, your money is not able to support it either. You just now fixed this base, and this base is starting to get set up, but again, you're now on 12 minutes, and you're just now getting your fourth base saturated. And I would highly recommend, do not take gases ever again. If you're going to go bio, do not ever take gases after your first 3 bases. Okay. Until these gases if they actually start getting depleted, and they mine out, then you can take more gas somewhere else. But you don't honestly need more than 6 active gas geysers. Because especially once like your buildings are all finished, like your upgrades are done, once your add-ons are all finished being made, your gas is going to have nowhere to be spent if all you're doing is making a couple medevacs and a couple Thors. Like, you're going to have way more gas than you need. Because also the thing is too, is if your medevacs live and you don't need to remake them, that's, again, all that gas doesn't need to get spent again.
I have noticed that in like late game, I just have like 4,000 gas sitting there.
Yeah,
So,
and it would, if you actually just prioed the minerals at your 4th and your 5th and your 6th and your 7th and blah blah blah, every base after 3, you'll have so much more money to spend, which will allow you to get your barracks count going faster, which will allow you to make all of your barracks units faster. So again, like 15 seconds, like, so here's the number I'll give you, okay? If you can't remax within 15 seconds after your shit dying, there's a problem with your build. And so far, it's been a minute, and you're only at 148. You're actually below Zerg right now. Because you took the fight at 11 minutes, and shit started dying there. So let's now fast forward it to when the next fight happens or when your remax happens. Okay, the next fight's happening right now. So the Zerg is attacking you now about like 100 seconds after you should have started your remax. And you are at 184 and he's at 181. So you're still, like, you're tied with Zerg essentially. But imagine if you remaxed from like, let's say the fight ultimately ended at like 11:30 and your remax was within seconds of the fight ending, because it kept hitting 200 going down, hitting 200 going down, hitting 200 going down, because you're making shit as it dies. And then finally the last time it dropped below 200 supply was at like 11:26, and your remax is within 15 seconds of that. So let's say you remax at like 11:38, and at 11:38 you just attack him again with a full remaxed army. This Zerg would not have all of this.
Yeah.
He would have the same composition, but it would be smaller than it is right now, army-wise. And this Zerg player has no creep spread. He has no saturation on his 4th base or his 5th base. He's got horrible saturation on his 3rd. You would fucking crush this guy. He's got 48 drones. If you just remax properly, you would whittle this guy down so fucking hard and kill him. And this, again, this is a problem a lot of people have, is they just don't remax properly. It's all the game is about, though. This game is all about remaxes. The only time you'll ever win with your first max is when you're playing a style that you're microing really heavily and you're like really utilizing as well as you can. That's when your first max can actually kill somebody and crack them open. But yeah, that's not really the case here, simply because you're not microing, which you shouldn't be either. Like, you're just A-moving and kind of hoping for the best, and that's exactly what you should be doing. But if you're A-moving and hoping for the best and that's it, your macro definitely needs to be superior to what it is, which is what your attention should be invested on, for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, if you do what I'm saying, though, like, if you fix up your, I'm telling you right now, if you fix up your economy throughout the game, that was, as you know, get your 4th base faster, get your 3rd base faster, don't miss SCVs, try to do shit like that. Yep. Prioritize those SCVs. And you mix that also with, when you do your drops, just like stim it and fucking leave it. Just don't micro it. Let it kill whatever it's going to kill. Like, try to micro it later once you're super comfortable with your macro. But macro while those drops are happening. Because your opponent, I bet, will not macro during that. He'll also probably take damage. And you'll be macroing like fucking flawlessly during that too. You'll be like taking your 3rd on time, because that's around the time when you want to take your 3rd. Stuff like that. And then you'll be setting that up. You'll be like pumping out command centers one after another super fast, and by 13 minutes you won't be on 5 bases. Instead, you'll be on like 7 bases or like 8 bases at this point, because you'll be like, wow, I just have so many command centers. This is sick. And then you'll have and then you'll have like as well, you'll have a lot of minerals, because you will not take gas at any base beyond 3 bases. And you'll be like, wow, okay, so I'm pumping out of all my production right now, but I have a lot of I have like 1,000 minerals. I'm dropping mules on time. I cannot spend my money. Let's pump our barracks count up when I'm at like 170 or like 180 supply, because I physically can't spend my money. And then suddenly when you max out and you go attack, all of your barracks are done and their add-ons are done. And you have like 18 barracks, a factory, and a starport ready to pump units as you start losing units. And you have like 3,000 minerals in the bank ready to do it with, because you're so fucking rich, because you're not messing up your economy. If you do it like that, that's the key right there. That you're gonna be like, wow, platinum games are fucking easy.
Okay.
It definitely changes everything.
I mean, this game's over at this point.
Yeah, no, I feel like it. It's I mean, it actually isn't entirely over if you microed it, but again, this is not the position you want to find yourself in. This is like this position right here happened to be like, okay, well, we have to make the most of it. Obviously, if you do have to do this, setting up tanks, setting up liberators, that's the way to go here. So you're doing it ideally correct for what it should be. But the only micro tip I'll give you, okay, because I mean, if you really have to do it, one thing you could do is right click your whole army like right here, okay? And then as it's all running there, green box like half of it and tell it to go right here. And then move everything right there. So you have an army coming from this direction and an army coming from this direction, which makes the lurkers have way worse damage because you're spreading out your concave. So lurkers get way less efficiency because they have to cleave into a unit. So their cleave is going to be way less if your concave is larger and your units are thinned out more and spread out.
Okay.
That's about the best thing you can do here for yourself. And if you did that, you could actually scan and kill a bunch of his lurkers. And if you're remaxing fast, you could remake everything that dies, and the Zerg won't remake these, and your remax will just run over the rest of his army.
Makes some good sense.
It's all about the remax. It's not about the first max. It's all about the remax and the repeated remax. It never ends. The only time remaxes end is when the map is out of minerals, and it's like 45 minutes in the game, and you literally have nothing else left. If your opponent is able to go 45 minutes with you with constant remaxes, then that was a formidable opponent. But if you're but if you're dying when there's tons of resources left on the map still, and your opponent is not macroing very well, like this, it's literally a flaw in your macro. So which is what we talked about. It's just macro needs to be a little bit beefed up a bit here. But yeah, you're not really gonna usually run into people who have formidable macro until like Diamond League. Like that's usually when people start having decent macro. Around now is usually just when people make mistakes and stuff like that, which we've kind of talked about. But I know I've talked a lot, but do you have any questions about the shit that we're just talking about?
No, I think I asked my questions and I got a lot to work on, I think, and you're very clear about what to do. I think I got it, and I'll take it from there and hopefully show you some improvement.
Oh yeah, no, it sounds good, man. I would say, not even kidding, if you want like homework for yourself, which is gonna like help you to know if you're on track or not, just seriously go look at, like, pick a game that you go, okay, this game from Vibes Terran B to GM, in like Platinum 1 or some shit, I don't know, because you're doing a Platinum style, so I'd recommend the Platinum videos. Do like, just pick a game against a Zerg player, or pick a game against, like, you can pick like one for Terran, one for Zerg, one for Protoss, and go, okay, this game was a good one. This is going to be my checkpoint. I want this to be me. Like, I want my play to be this, and see how close I can get to this. And then write down those numbers. Like, just do the notepad trick to it, and write down the numbers. And if you ever, just test yourself sometimes when you win a game. Go, okay, well, I feel like I played well this game, but let's see how well I really did. Let's check. Let's do an actual number check here, and then see how it's like, compare it. And if you lose a game, be like, okay, well, what did Vibe have at this point in time? And if you do this kind of shit, it'll actually start teaching you things that I kind of referenced at the very start of this video, or at the start of this coaching lesson, which was like, do you know timers of the game? Are you comfortable with like how early a Zerg's expansion is supposed to be? And if you start actually paying attention to the clock a little bit, where you're like, okay, well, at this point, at 6 minutes, my third should be down, and I should have blah, blah, blah. Like, that's when you should, like, if things like that make sense to you, the game will actually start making more sense overall with like scouting and stuff like that. And you'll be like, okay, well, I feel like I know how to read shit a little bit easier, simply because I know what numbers mean in the game a little bit now with the clock and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, last thing I'll say to you, in the future, if you ever find yourself in a situation like this where you're uncomfortable and you're like, fuck, there's so many lurkers, what do? Do not make ghosts. This unit is like Masters level plus, like maybe high diamond. It's fucking hard to use if you don't know how to use it. I would recommend just making another factory and just make more tanks. If you really, really just want to make something that hard counter lurkers, just make more tanks.
Okay.
Because tanks outrange lurkers, and the trick about tanks is, don't unsiege all of them. Siege all of them, and then unsiege the back line, and then move the back line to the front. And then the new back line, unsiege it, move it to the front. The new back line, unsiege it, move it to the front. You like leapfrog them forward when you push into lurkers, because tanks outrange lurkers, and you'll always be sieged up with the majority of your tanks in case at any point in time he randomly decides, I'm going to attack you now. And then the way you counter that is you scan, you grab your bio, you stim pack forward, and you guard your tanks. And you just A-move it. You just let it go. And your tanks will plow through the lurkers and the hydras and stuff like that. So yeah, tanks definitely is super easy to use strong unit versus lurker. But yeah, ideally you want to be just having a lot of bio, and you just run your opponent over with bio with good macro. That's the ideal situation.
Yeah.
With those 15-second remaxes. But yeah, anyways, man. I guess, yeah. I know the game pretty much ends like right here. We'll watch your final little fight here. And you're definitely gonna die because you're trying to use ghost now, and your ghosts are just gonna get they just got wiped off the face of the earth here. Really good unit. Really good unit if microed like a boss, but if you don't babysit that unit really well, the unit doesn't pay for itself at all. So there's just too much Zerg that you die. Yeah. But yeah, in the future, just keep in mind all the stuff we talked about. I'll make this a VOD too. I'll edit it and I'll upload it tomorrow for you. So by like tomorrow in the Discord chat we have here, I'll just have a link to a YouTube video for you, so you can just easily go back and check it whenever you want. And yeah, man, I guess if you have no other questions, dude, thanks for. I appreciate doing a coaching lesson. Thank you for buying it. Yeah. And fuck yeah, I wish you the best of luck, dude, going forward in your games.
Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate all the help here, and like I said, I'll work on this for sure. And honestly, you'll probably hear from me again, and hopefully I can be in a better place next time and get some different advice at that point. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, yeah, much love, and also just to throw it out there, I apologize if I was being a bit of a dick. It sounded like I was being a bit of a dick at the start. The only reason why I'm kind of hard on people like that is because I do get people. I have gotten people a lot before who have tried to scam me out of free coaching lessons. So I'm a bit of a stickler on making sure people buy lessons.
All good. No hard feelings. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work, man. Thank you.
All right. Much love. I appreciate you, and have a good rest of your day, dude.
You too. Later on.
All right. See you, man. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the coaching lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this helped you as well in your Terran games you're going to be going into. But good luck, guys. Go remax in 15 seconds. It's fucking important. I get questions like this all the time in stream where people go, how do I beat X composition in Platinum or in Gold League? And it's not about composition as much as it is about your macro every single time. It's so important. And it's about like setting up a really good foundation to remax off of. And if you can't remax in 15 seconds, there's a problem. And it doesn't matter what race you are. Every race can do it. Every race can. With beta GM styles that I was, showing people in that series. But anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, whatever it is. Good luck and peace. See you guys.